الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين صدق الله العظيم. Respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, in continuation of Ayat number 152 of Surat Al-Baqarah, particularly the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're told in this ayah, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, فَاذْكُرُونِي, so then remember me. أَذْكُرْكُمْ, I will remember you. This portion, going back to the previous ayah, the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are three major elements that are mentioned in the previous ayah, ayat number 151. And the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very unique in all of those elements. In ayat number 151, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, كَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا فِيكُمْ رَسُولًا مِّنْكُمْ. In a similar way, we have sent to you a great messenger. He has been sent amongst you. يَتْلُو عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتِنَا. He's reciting to you our ayat. The Quran and the ayat of the Quran, this is a dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the best of adhkar. And the dhikr of the Quran, particularly the ayat of the Quran, there are a few elements related to the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concerning the ayat of the Quran. Particularly the topics within the ayat of the Quran. We have gone over one portion of this regarding the ayat in the Quran that are related to the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, particularly that dhikr which is masnoon, mentioned in the sunnah, and which was the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, a famous masnoon adhkar. Those that we do after every salah, tasbih, tahmeed and takbir, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, and Allahu akbar, 33 times each. And Allahu Akbar 34 times. And also Tahleel, La ilaha illallah. And all of the other various adhkar, how those are mentioned in various ayat in the Quran. Majority of these ayat fall under a category of the ulum of the Quran, the subjects mentioned within the ayat of the Quran. Referred to as ilm tadhkir bi ala illah. Amongst the topics of the ayat of the Quran, there is one topic that deals with the subject mentioning the numerous favors and bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is also a dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to reflect and ponder over the numerous favors and the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also the numerous ayat and signs within the universe. The ayat of kainat, those ayat mentioned in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Reflecting and pondering over this. This is also a form of dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reflecting on those ayat. And even a little beyond just reflection, going into deep research and thought within those ayat mentioned in this subject and in this topic. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Do they not reflect, do they not deeply think and ponder and reflect on the ayat of the Quran, or reflect on this Quran? This is one type of reflection. This type of reflection, this type of thought is also a form of meditation, of contemplation. This is very, very effective in a few formats. One is that it also is a foundation of Iman and also strengthens Iman. As we're told in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. That the believers are those when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned, their hearts tremble and shake with the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. Whenever our ayat are recited to them, زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا, it increases their iman, it strengthens their iman. وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ, and this becomes a means of them putting their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we reflect on the creation, you find the power, the qudra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You find the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You find the ilm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that all of this creation that He has created, how amazing. How much attention to detail, how much power was needed to create all of this. And if that is the case, then if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do all of this within the creation, then really whatever we need is not something difficult for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any way. So this is a foundation of Iman, or this type of reflection, this type of tafakkur. This is also a dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This has a unique element of also purification. Coming back to ayat number 151, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was sent to purify them. So with the ayat of the Quran, that reflection, that contemplation, that research, it has a profound purifying effect on the yaqeen of a person, on our conviction, what we are convinced about, our convictions, our beliefs. It purifies iman. It purifies our aqidah, it purifies our yaqeen, purifies our conviction. In turn, it also has a unique impact on the nafs also. And this brings about a kind of fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also a desire, a wish to want to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for that, it has various effects of purity inside the heart. With this type of reflection, taking time out every day, it is a very, very unique cure for various kinds of diseases of the heart. Amongst them are the various diseases of nifaq and hypocrisy. This is the one very, very unique element that is very, very effective. And is also very effective in bringing khushu' within salah. So that is also a sense of type of purity, purifying a person from the qualities that the munafiqeen have, that the hypocrites have. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about some of the qualities of the munafiqeen, one of those qualities is وَإِذَا قَامُوا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ قَامُوا كُسَالَى يُرَاءُونَ النَّاسِ وَلَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. The munafiq or the hypocrite is one. When he stands for salah, he stands in a very lazy way. But he also does it just to be seen by the people. Meaning when the munafiq is alone, so first of all, they barely pray. But even if they do it in a lazy way. Or if they see that somebody is watching them, so they only pray just so that people will not blame them that this person does not pray salah. This was very particular to the munafiqeen at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that they used to attend the masjid so that in the society they would not be frowned upon. They would not be discarded by the society of Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. So yura'un an-nas, they only pray just to be seen by the people that this person also attended the masjid, he's Muslim. وَلَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. But their nature is that they don't remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except very little. So that means that those who remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and who do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and particularly reflecting on the ayat of the Quran, for them, they will also develop a kind of khushu' in the a'mal, a kind of sincerity and ikhlas in their righteous deeds. They'll do it only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the profound impact that this type of ibadah will have, this type of dhikr will have. There's also one type of dhikr. For that, ilm is needed. Coming to the last part of the ayat 151, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَيُعَلِّمُكُمْ مَا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ. The Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was sent to teach you that which you did not know. To teach you how to do this type of reflection, reflecting on the ayat, reciting the ayat, gaining the ilm and the details within these ayat of the Quran. That will help you to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a very unique way. This is one meaning of this first portion of ayat number 152. This is the second meaning, another meaning. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرُكُمْ. So then remember me, I will remember you. There's also another meaning to this portion. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرُكُمْ. All of these are the meanings of this, but when it comes to the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there are ayat in the Quran that speak about the topic and subject matter of death and the marahil and stages after death, known as ilm tadhkir bil maut or bima ba'd al maut. There are ayat in the Quran that the subject matter is related, or the mentioning of death and the stages after death. And this is to teach a mu'min, teach us believers to prepare for that time that we have to leave this world, and also to make it very clear for us what our maqsad and our purpose in this life is. الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that being who has created death and He has created life, so that He may test you which amongst you is the best in your actions and deeds. So there are ayat in the Quran that have the mention of death and the marahil and stages after death. And this is also a type of dhikr. So when those ayat are recited, again, coming through the three sequence, or the sequence of ayat number 151 related to dhikr, related to the mission of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which is then explained in ayat number 152, the aspect of dhikr. That Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was sent to you, or sent amongst you, to recite the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to you. In those ayat, you'll find a mention of death and the stages and marahil after death. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he told us in the hadith, أَكْثِرُ الذِّكْرَ هَزِّمِ اللَّذَّاتِ الْمَوْتِ. Frequently remember the killer of pleasures, death. And there are many ahadith that point to this. A Sahabi came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and he asked that who is the most intelligent person? So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told or responded to this Sahabi. The Sahabi, he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his companion came and he asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Man akyasun nas wa man ahza'un nas, that who is the most intelligent of the people, who's the smartest person, who's considered intelligent. We all have different ways that we measure intelligence. And I'm not referring to these strange IQ tests or whatever other tests are out there, but everyone has a certain standard who they consider to be successful. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam responded, Al-Qayyisu man dana nafsa wa amila lima ba'd al-maut. A wise person is one who takes account of himself and performs actions and deeds that will help him after death. So if you truly want to be wise people, then we're told to remember death. This remembrance of death has a very, very profound impact on the life of a person, in stopping a person from the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told us that the hearts, they become rusted, or they get rust as iron gets rust when you put it in water. we human beings, when we're outside in the dunya, living in this world, how much propaganda is there, how much dunya is there, the glamour of the world. It is very, very deceptive. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, فَلَا تَغُرَّنَّكُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا. So never be deceived by the life of this world. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us that the hearts, they become rusted. With all this deception of the dunya, with all this evil of the world. And they become so rusted, just like iron. You put iron inside water, so it becomes rusted. So Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they asked, how do we get rid of this rust? How do you get rid of the rust of the heart? So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave beautiful advice that the recitation of the Quran and frequent remembrance of death. This will get rid of the rust of the heart. How many things we desire in this dunya, how many things we desire from this world. The glamour of this dunya, the glamour of this world, to have big bank balances, to have good jobs, reputation, honor and respect and the wealth and whatever other things we desire from this world. These are the desires of the world. People mention this is halal and this is haram. These are just the material things of this world. Mata'ul hayat ad-dunya. These are material things of this world. How you use them and how they affect you, that will determine if it is good or bad. This is like the argument that guns are good or bad. A gun is a gun. It's a tool. What people do with it, that will determine the person, if they're good or bad. Similarly with the dunya, with this world, there are ways and things in this dunya, if they're done within accordance to the rules and laws of Islam, so they're allowed, they're halal. If we do things outside of that, seeking things outside of what is allowed for us, what is halal for us, seeking things outside of that, so this is haram. And this will be good or bad. But what is clear is the desire for these worthy things. If it is not kept in check, it can rust the heart. The way to get rid of this rust, to get rid of this desire for this world, is to have this remembrance of death. Time is coming, we have to leave everything in this world behind. But we have not been created for this dunya. We've been created for a life after this dunya, a life after this world. And everything that we do in this dunya, everything that we do in this world, it should be to build our akhirah. And this is the quality of a believer, that everything he does in this world, he does it seeking to better their life in the hereafter. Whether it is our job, whether it is our wealth, whether it is our businesses, whether it is with our families, whatever we have, whatever we do. We always have this intention to try and build our akhirah with that. So when a person is always thinking of the hereafter, always thinking about the next world, so he will always be investing there. It's like the example of many of us who are from the earlier generation who came from back home. So the minds and the hearts are back home. Anything that is earned here, we're investing it back home. Even if logically we convince ourselves that it's being wasted, because when you invest back home, and I'm saying back home, whatever countries we come from, particularly the subcontinent, Pakistan and India, but this is universal. You can go and speak to anyone from any country, from Malaysia and Indonesia and Pakistan and India and all the Arab countries, everywhere you go. So we make our wealth here, but we build our mansions and our palaces back home. And the reality is that we don't even go to visit there. Our time comes where for years we don't go, and those are either left or our relatives take them. That is the reality of this dunya. Why? Because our hearts and our minds are there. Even when we're making 1 penny, we're investing it there. But if you apply that also to the spiritual world, if a man's heart and his mind is in the akhirah, So he'll be making every effort to invest in the akhirah and build his Jannah. And this should be the quality of a believer. So this is also a type of dhikr, a type of reminder, and also a type of the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that a time is coming where I have to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a believer is one that yearns to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but at the same time, they have that fear that maybe I have not done enough to gain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what will be my condition in the akhirah? This will also purify the person from the greed and hirs of dunya. That is what yuzakkihim, yuzakkikum, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he has been sent to purify you. And with that, he has also taught us to think about when it comes to the akhirah, how to build our Jannah, how to build our paradise, the various righteous a'mal that we can perform. يُعَلِّمُكُمْ مَا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ, and he taught you things you did not know. How to build our qabr, the life of the qabr, how to build the Jannah, build our palaces within Jannah, how many righteous a'mal and righteous deeds are there. So this is also a type of dhikr. And also in essence, the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that a time is coming where we have to leave this dunya, leave this world. And we'll have to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is also what is meant here, فَاذْكُرُونِي, so then remember me, أَذْكُرْكُمْ, I will also remember you. And what is unique about this portion, that when we remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by remembering and thinking of death, that a time has come where I have to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He remembers us in the sense that He gives us the tawfiq and ability to perform more righteous deeds. And also gives us the strength to refrain from His disobedience. That is why it is important for a mu'min, for a believer, and at least some portion in the day, some time in the day, should stop whatever we're doing and just think, reflect on death, even for a few moments. Just reflect on death, that a time is coming where I'll be left alone in the qabr. There'll be no one there in the grave with me. There'll be no wealth, there'll be no relatives, there'll be no one, no friends, there'll be nothing there. Also there'll be no this internet and social media and all these, there'll be nothing there. It'll be just us and our amal, us and our deeds, and also the malaika and the angels. And this is the time that we should prepare for that time. Make proper preparations so that that is a comfortable place. We should not waste our time in this dunya and ruin our akhirah. That is a very, very bad trait. It's a very, very terrible thing to do. We should use this time in this dunya, time in this world, in a very, very wise way. And this will be the determining factor of our success or our failure. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ.